You listening to Precept on Precept. Captain Shim break it down to no meat left. Line upon line in the word, make you respect. History collegiate when we teach it, brains reset. You listening to Precept on Precept. Captain Shim break it down to no meat left. Line upon line, the word make you respect. History collegiate when we teach it, brains reset. Putting in the work for the most high. Valley of the bones coming back and we gon' ride. Showing you our past didn't start with that boat ride. We a nation made of kings, yeah, we chose right. Bringing our identity back. We the praise of the Lord, they pretend to be that. Judah is something special, they could never be that. We raise the vengeance with the knowledge so our enemies crack. In fact, listen to the class and the topic. Bomb subject matter, breakdowns atomic. Gathering the people, the whole duty of prophets.
Israel united in Christ. We are not a hate group. We are not affiliated with any other Israelite group. Israel United in Christ is a non-violent, Bible-based movement. We do not advocate or condone any acts of violence against any race, ethnicity, or gender. We advise that if anyone hears or knows of any plots to cause harm to anyone or to break the laws of the land, you must contact the proper authorities to bring awareness to any possible threat, as stated in Leviticus chapter 5, verse 1.
Hey, shalom, Israel. Hey, Most High in Christ bless. There's a reverb in this mic. Most High in Christ bless. Welcome to another edition of Precept upon Precept. We are your host. I'm Captain Shem.
Officer Matthew.
Officer Mikha'el.
Officer Micah.
So look, tonight, as we have had other radio shows this week talk about, we're going to kind of continue on with the flow. The exodus of the United States from Afghanistan. I heard on the news today, I was in an Edomite's house at the job, that this is the longest war in U.S. modern history, even longer than the Vietnam War, which is almost into 3 decades. It was over 20 years. And somebody can confirm or not confirm that, but it was almost 20 years. So, I want to start off with one scripture. Get me the book of, matter of fact, say something real quick, Officer Matt. I need to find something that just came to my head real quick.
So the topic of discussion, we are discussing the dragons of Arabia, remembering their nature. All right, this is a heavy thing because this is prophecy fulfilling. This is the Bible unraveling before our eyes. We need to start to get ourselves together, all right? Start following the law, statutes, and commandments. This stuff is not going to stop. There's literally nowhere in the United States of America that you can go where people have not heard of the Israelites. My grandmother called me today, and you know what she ended the conversation with? She said, look, you know, I'm not into all of that religion stuff. I didn't bring up religion nowhere in the conversation. She said, I'm not into all that religion stuff, you know, I just believe in spirituality, you know, if I live right and I, you know, do what I think is best and, you know, I take care of my family and this, that, and the third, then God is going to be pleased. Now, I didn't say anything, but there's nothing, like my grandmother doesn't even have social media. Her phone, she still has a landline. She has a flip phone, and she knows about the Israelites. Like, come on. You know what I'm saying? This should wake y'all up.
That's right. And we want to just preface something. Those of you who might be new to this truth, I want everybody to, when you get an opportunity, and don't do it just one time, I want you to watch a series that Bishop Nathaniel, before it was called Elder Nathaniel, was called The Truth Shall Make You Free series, Ishmael and the Arab World. It is a very formatted, solid class where you get some really good understanding. I really encourage all of you to watch that. It'll give you some greater understanding. And now there's even, this was years ago. There's more added, like Officer Matt said, it literally, quite literally is happening for us to watch on TV, literally. Get me Genesis 16. There's something that we want to point out and to show you that it didn't take long at all after the U.S. Pulled the last of its troops out the government apparently toppled in less than a week and a half, 2 weeks. I think it was even shorter than that. How does that happen? Well, because the Bible is going to tell us. Genesis chapter 16. Let's start at verse 1, and then we're going to jump.
Yes, sir. The book of Genesis, chapter 16 and verse 1. Now Sarai, Abram's wife, bare him no children, and she had an handmaid, an Egyptian, whose name was Hagar.
So Hagar, what we're going to find out, goes on to have a child. Let's read on to verse 4.
Verse 4. And he went in unto Hagar.
So who's the he? Abram. When you come on, read on.
Yes, sir. And she conceived, and when she saw that she had conceived, her mistress was despised in her eyes.
Meaning that now Sarai is like, listen, I know I was down with it before, but I'm not happy. I'm not having it anymore. I don't like what's going on. Read on.
And Sarai said unto Abram, my wrong be upon thee. I have given my maid into thy bosom.
She said, I authorized it. You know, I was fine with it, but it's my fault. Read on.
And when she saw that she had conceived, I was despised in her eyes. The Lord judged between me and thee.
I'm sorry. Yes, Sarah said it. Okay. All right. Now, jump to verse E. I want to see something. This came to me. Okay. Verse 9. No, I want to show you something. Verse 9.
Verse 9. And the angel of the Lord said unto her, return to thy mistress.
So this is the angel of the Lord. The angel of the Lord said, go return to the, who's this? Telling Hagar, go back and return to thy mistress, right? No, I'm sorry. Hold up. Sarah, and she said, an angel said, return to thy mistress and submit thyself. Okay, understood. Mistress is talking about, in this context, is talking about Sarah, because she is the lady of the house, if you will. Read on.
And submit thyself under her hands. And the angel of the Lord said unto her, I will multiply thy seed exceedingly, that it shall not be numbered for multitude. And the angel of the Lord said unto her, behold, thou art with child. And
so remember, she got cast out, right? Remember, she got cast out. Yeah, I remember online, she got cast out. And it said that in verse 7, it says, the angel of the Lord found her by a fountain of the water in the wilderness, by the fountain in the way to shore. And he said, Hagar, Sarah's maid, whence comest thou, and whither wilt thou go? And she said, I flee from the face of my mistress Sarah. So it was of the Lord that happened, but the angel of the Lord said, go back. So all the things we're reading about is of God. There's no accident, there's no mistake in what is about to be said. I wanted to point that out. We had a dumb, crazy Islamic Negro about 10 years ago in New York try to argue this down. This is of the Lord. The angel of the Lord told her, go back to your mistress.
That's right.
Read on.
And shall bear a son, and shall call his name Ishmael.
Shall bear a son, and shall call his name Ishmael. Read on.
Because the Lord hath heard thy affliction.
So it was of the Lord. The Most High heard the cry, and he said, you know what? As a result, you're going to get blessed too. Let's read about it. Read.
And he will be a wild man. His hand will be against every man.
So this is the part we want to pay attention to. Ishmael, when you read, and that's why I want all of you to watch Bishop Nathaniel's Ishmael in the Arab World. It's excellent. Everywhere he goes, whether it be in the UK, whether it be in the United States, whether it be in Israel, wherever he goes, he has a problem, and they have a problem with him everywhere. Everywhere. They have a problem. Arabs are hot-headed. That's why a lot of them bugged out Negroes that are in the Nation of Islam, they take on that very similar spirit. That's what it is. They want to. I was in the Nation of Islam, that stupid confusion for a little bit. They're aggressive. They're all aggressive. All right, read on.
And every man's hand against him.
And every man's hand against him. Read on.
And he shall dwell in the presence of all his brethren.
Now, this is the part I wanted to get to. He will be a wild man, and he shall dwell in all the presence of his brethren. So now, Obsakim was pulled up a map of Arab countries. So, well, at home, I really want us to get a quick grasp. So now this is the continent of Africa. And a lot of us might have the thought that Sudan and Egypt and perhaps even Somalia were all black countries. But they have a significant population of Arabs in the northern part of the African continent. Let's look at some of them. So you've got Morocco, which to the north of that is the Iberian Peninsula, which is Portugal and Spain. Then you have Algeria. You have Mauritania, Mauritania, thank you for that. That's been in the news the last couple of years. Libya has been in the news. Egypt, of course. Sudan, Chad. You have Yemen, Oman, Saudi Arabia, Iraq, Kuwait. There's Syria. There's Jordan. And where's Israel? Is it above it?
Yeah, by Jordan. Jordan.
I don't even see it written.
Nah, Israel's not there, but Jordan is the Israel part because it's divided. Remember,
right.
Israel is divided.
That's right. That's right. You have Saudi. So now, when we look at, where's this called? What is that called? What is that sea called? Is that's not the Persian Gulf? No.
So the Red Sea.
What is this called? I want a map where I can see this right here.
That's the Red Sea.
Is that the Red Sea?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I really want a visual, but I want them to see that it's the Red Sea.
Pull up a map with the geography.
Save this. This is good, Akiem. We're going here because a lot of us need to be refreshed before we get into these scriptures and before we get into these news articles and before we get into what's happening right now in this area. So keep in mind, if you look where you see Iran, Iraq, this is the Red Sea, Saudi Arabia, Oman, Yemen, Kuwait. Those are Arab countries. And we're very familiar with that part. But what we don't realize is there's so much more of Arab territory. Oh, shoot, somebody should have stopped me. Oh, watchman report, right? Hey, we're going to come right back to this. Bear with us. We'll take it away. Officer Michael with the watchman report. Take it away.
Hey, shalom, Israel, most high and Christ bless. All right, let's get right into it. I want to hold cap up. Let's go. Come on. All right, study. I'm thinking about Ishmael. Kids' firearms injuries jump in 2020. So they got worse in 2021. All right, next article, please.
What?
Yes. Afghan update. Exodus at Kabul airport as Afghan capital fails to Taliban fighters as it happened. We're going to leave that alone and table that for the rest of the class. Next article, please. Photo shows as U.S. forced cargo plane crammed with 640 Afghanis try to flee the Taliban.
Come on now, dog.
So they were crammed on there. In another video, people already saw it. They were falling off the plane. All right, next article, please. Hey, while everybody worried about twerking and all this other foolishness, guess what? He saw it again. A national lab achieved a Wright brothers. In case y'all know who the Wright brothers were, they would allegedly invented the airplane. Moment in nuclear fusion. They figuring out how to put atoms together. We know what that's called. Yep, right on point. Next article, please. All right, Caldor fire by Tahoe grows to 62,586 acres, and that's in California. So let's keep our family in prayer out there. That fire is getting out of control. All right, next article, please. Restaurant. This is happening in New York. It's spreading. Restaurant businesses sue Mayor de Blasio over vaccine mandates. So what they're trying to say is they have constitutional rights. So they're launching lawsuits. But if you can go back and read this article, Esau ain't trying to hear that. So next article, please. American Idol, Sanisha Mercado tears up as she speaks about losing custody of kids. It hurts so bad. So this shows us the curse of Deuteronomy 28. They pretty much just took the sister's kids, and it wasn't nothing she could do to get them back. So more to follow on that. And last article, please. Okay, this concludes the Watchman Report.
All right. All praise to the Most High. So what we're doing is, let's read this scripture in Genesis again, when it says, and he shall dwell. That one, verse 12.
Yes, sir. The book of Genesis, chapter 16 and verse 12. And he will be a wild man.
A wild man, to the point where he was much like the spirit of the kamikaze pilots in the World War II, where they would do kamikaze jet bombs and blow up in Pearl Harbor. They did that, and they did it throughout World War II. Read on.
His hand will be against every man.
Wherever this man goes, his hand is going to be upon every other man's. Read on.
And every man's hand against him.
Well, he causes so much agitation that everyone else is going to go back at him. And that's why you see the turmoil with Palestine, the Palestinian Arabs on the Gaza Strip with the so-called white man who calls himself a Jew. And now we're going to compare and contrast this map, and it is a Red Sea. Thank you for that. I want everybody at home to see. As we look at the highlighted in yellow, I believe it's a direct corresponding, the exact mirror for mirror, if I'm not mistaken. So we have, starting from Western Sahara, was it Morocco, Mauritania, Morocco, Algeria, Libya, Tunisia, Tunisia. That's spelled wrong. All right. Anyways, Egypt, Sudan, and the other one, they had one below Libya. These are all predominantly Arab nations. Now, most of us, we really look at, and you could actually include Turkey and you can include Iran. I just dealt with someone from Turkey, and they are a huge population of Arabs in that country. But in Iran is also heavily populated with Arabs. So this whole area, Ishmael is deep in all these areas, in particular in Yemen, Oman, and the whole Arabian, it says Arabian Peninsula. It's called the Arabian Peninsula. And some of you brothers were over there in the military. You could kind of shed some light from your experiences, kind of what you've seen when you were in these countries.
Yeah, when we got to Iraq, we was in Kuwait, right there by the Persian Gulf. Kuwait is actually a pretty beautiful city. But I was stationed in Iraq where the Q is. If you go down about an inch, that's where my camp was.
So how did y'all learn about Iran? What did y'all hear about the Iranians? Did they ever talk? Were they brothers over there?
No, when I was there, we only dealt with the Iraqis.
Okay.
I don't know about Micah, if they crossed the border a lot with
No, they tell us,
Pakistan, Afghanistan, and Iran.
They said you don't go over there, but I can't confirm or deny that didn't happen.
Right. So what about with Afghanistan? Officer Mike, you were in Afghanistan, correct?
Yes, sir.
Where is that on the map? That's more to. Can we get a map of Afghanistan? Because Afghanistan is Arabs too.
Yes, sir.
Well, we see, and that's not even on this map, unless.
That should be right north of Iran, right?
Uh-huh.
Afghanistan. And then Pakistan is right to the east.
If we can get a bigger map, and we know right now, and I'm going the long way with this, we know right now what's in the news is Afghanistan. Well, I'm showing you how far the Arab stretch goes. It goes all the way from North Africa to the so-called Middle East, all the way into where you see Asia. Can we get a map of that? Let's get a map of Afghanistan.
And just to shed a little light on it, we actually talked to some Iraqis while we was out there. One of them, he was educated by some Marines, on how Negroes talk. So he started to, basically talk like us. So when I met him, I said hello. He was like, "Yo, what's good?" And I'm like,
"Yeah, them
how
interpreters."
the hell you know that? Like, how? That's some stuff I hear back home. So when I heard that, that kind of dropped my defenses, and I was like, "Hey, man, just tell me something. Like, why are we over here?" He said, "Well, I don't know why you over here, but I mean, no, I said, what are we doing over here?" He said, "I don't know why you over here, but I can tell you what, the white people in your country, we can't tolerate them being here."
They said the same thing to us in Afghanistan.
Yeah.
Like the dude literally looked me in the face and said, "Look, I don't have a problem with you. I don't like the white man." That's how they roll over there.
Yep.
That's
they said
right.
It. They said it directly. It was like, black Americans, we don't got no problem with y'all. But white people think they could come over here and take whatever they want. And that's a problem. And when he said that, my entire mentality changed as a soldier.
And I'll tell you what, though, one thing that they'll tell you that we don't have a problem with you, meaning you, the black GIs that was over there. But when you go into history, over 14 centuries, these bastard Arabs enslaved millions upon millions of our people. So, of course, they have a problem because they still look at us like we're inferior. So I ain't got a problem with you. The white man's superior to him on this earth. So they have a problem because they're being oppressed as well. But so we can't, but you're right, though. They were being oppressed. Yes, let's see it. Okay, here we go. So, okay. So now, if we look here, we have, let's look at Saudi Arabia, the large light yellow. So Egypt is on the left. This is good. This is good. Yeah, point what I'm talking about. Thank you. So let's start with Egypt real quick. Put on Egypt. There we go. Now we're going to bump up to Jordan and Israel. Go up to Israel. Jordan. Yep. Go up to Syria. Very good. Go up to Turkey. Turkey, where you go up to where it says, is it Istanbul? Istanbul is one of the largest cities. Huge city. Huge Arab population in parts of Turkey. Now, let's shoot over your 3 o'clock and go to Iran. Think of a clock. There's Iran. That is, I know that has a population of Arabs there as well.
They are wild in Iran.
Look, you know what we don't realize is look at the size of Iran. Iran and Saudi Arabia are giant countries.
Yeah. If the dragons of Arabia remember their nature,
Yeah.
not if, but when the dragons of Arabia remember their nature, and Iran comes into play.
Yeah.
Whew.
Well, look, and that's why we read, and they will be, and it says in 16:12, it says, and they will be the presence of all his brethren. I'm just taking his scripture and making sure we're all on the same page. So when we bring the class out, sometimes it's good to take 10 minutes, right? We're showing you that he's going to be around. This is all his brethren. You've got Iraq, of course, which is Iraq War 1 and 2. Some of my brother was over there. Some of the men in this room were over there. Now we've got Iran. Remember, it was the whole Iran-Contra. Remember that whole thing with the hijack of the airplanes. Now we go to the question, Afghanistan. Afghanistan shares a very long border with both Iran as well as Pakistan. Pakistan, help me out, that also has Arabs there as well.
Oh, yeah.
I could be wrong.
That's right.
Iran, Afghanistan, and Pakistan is mixed with Elam and Ishmael.
Because what it was, like, if you see Kandahar right there on the map, they would tell us we couldn't pursue any of the enemies down into Pakistan. So what they were doing is separated by a mountainous terrain. During the fighting season, they used certain trails to just fall back into Pakistan where the U.S. couldn't pursue after them. But when it was cold, they would just bounce back and forth, and they knew that the U.S. couldn't go in Pakistan and get them.
So, and that's why it's good to get a testimony from someone who's actually over there. So here's my point. Pakistan, Afghanistan, and even to a lesser extent, probably even Turkmenistan. Definitely Iran, definitely Iraq, Syria, a lot of parts of Turkey. Of course, Jordan. Of course, Saudi Arabia, Yemen, Oman. There's the United, I can't even read that.
United Arab Emirates.
Right? Kuwait. Then, of course, Egypt. So this whole area, just to familiarize with yourself, is when you think of Arabs, don't just think of the middle of the Middle East, which is Iran. They usually show you Iraq. They show you Palestine. They usually focus on those, and then they'll mention Afghanistan, but they don't really talk about the Arab presence over there. But today we're going to bring it. So anyway, I just wanted to show you that. Put the map again with the Arab writing for the first one. Yes, sir. And then we're going to get into the show. So remember, we have all of these, and there's the Islamic writing that's all over here. All these countries here, right? Now, when we also include when you went, if you look at Iraq, you look 3 o'clock, like a clock. We had Pakistan, and we had Afghanistan, which is even off your screen. Is a huge population of Arabs, and they're all close to each other. That's the point. That's the whole point of the scripture. Now, we can drop all that out. I want to bring one thing, and then we got some great articles. Officer Matt, Officer Micah, they brothers, Officer Mikha'el have some great articles. But I want to just show one thing that's strong. You guys talked about this in Clubhouse, if I'm not mistaken. Go to the last thing I posted. It's fresh on my mind. Go to, yes, it says there's a what is it, TikTok, Instagram. It says posters of women seen being covered in Kabul as Taliban captures the capital. Now, give me the scripture in Esdras. It says, "In the dragons of Arabia." Because part of remembering who you are is remembering the values that your forefathers passed on to you. I think it is 15. I can't remember if it's, you got to help me out with that
It's
one.
verse 29. I got you.
So let's start with that.
The book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 15, verse 29. Where the nations of the dragons of Arabia.
Stop. Read it. Listen carefully. Read it again.
Where the nations of the dragons of Arabia shall come out with many chariots.
Stop. The nations, plural. The nations, plural, goes back to Genesis. And he shall be and dwell amongst his brethren. Why is this important? Officer Matthew mentioned something. We are living in Bible days. We are living in this time when Ezra says we are actually starting to see this come to pass.
That's
right.
We're seeing it.
Hey, IT. Go to Merriam-Webster dictionary and look up dragon. Because the scripture said, where the nations of the dragons of Arabia. Cap read a scripture earlier that said, Ishmael shall be a wild man, his hand shall be against every man, and every man's hand against him. Now watch the definition of dragon. Now, put it on the screen, make sure it's on the screen. Now, the first two definitions, a huge serpent, a mythical animal usually represented by a monstrous winged scaly serpent or Syrian with a crested hair. All right, we know that. Definition number three, a violent, combative, or very strict person.
That's Ishmael right there.
That's what the scripture mean when it says the dragons of Arabia, a violent, combative, or very strict person. That's the wild man.
That's heavy. That's heavy. Mikha'el.
Look at number 5. It says something or someone formidable or baneful. Sidebar. Y'all remember what Bane did to Batman? Just put that out there. Baneful.
Whatever's better. So real quick. So we're going to read about remembering their nature. So read that one more time.
The book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 15, and verse 29.
Listen good. Let's think about what's going on in Afghanistan. The map we just showed you about all of the Arabic countries. We showed you how they're landmarked across continents. Now we're going to listen to the prophet Ezra, our forefather. Read.
Where the nations of the dragons of Arabia shall come out with many chariots.
So they're going to come out with many chariots, meaning that's weapons of vehicles of war. Read on.
And the multitude of them shall be carried as the wind upon earth,
Right. Read on.
that all they which hear them may fear and tremble.
Because right now, Esau got them divided using strategy. It's a lot of it's economics, a lot of it's political. Like Saudi Arabia, they don't really mess with Saudi Arabia. They got the oil fields. But they all have one thing in common. They all have Arabic roots that's based upon the similar religion and similar ideology. And we're going to go into something right now. The Arabs are like the Israelites, the ancient Israelites. They didn't want their women showing their breasts, not even Arabs took it to the extreme where you could only show your eyes. I mean, Israel, we had veils, this had veils and all that, but the Arab is you don't show any skin, and that was considered a respect thing. Even when the white journalists go over there, they have to dress a certain way or they can't get into certain places. I think when you get off the plane, there's certain things that you have to do as soon as you get into the country. America took their democracy and they started to defile the whole land, right? So now, if we can play this, and it's going to get to the next part when it talks about remembering their nature. Part of it is going to be militarily when they come together and attack Esau, right? But another way they're going to remember their nature is they're going to say, you know what? The hell with this democratic white ideology coming onto my brother's soil. You're going to come destroy that. I'm telling you, we taught them on the street the other time. They came out to the camp, and they do not like the white man. Even these dudes, is pale Arabs, lighter than me, they don't like so-called, they don't like them, okay? Because of all the things that Esau has done over there. Play, sorry.
As soon as we leave our compound, it's clear who is now in charge. Taliban fighters have flooded the capital.
So, this is right. I didn't even expect this. She is a Caucasian journalist dressed like an Islamic woman. Do you think she wants to do that? No, she has to play the part even just to get on the scene here.
Cap, that's why a lot of y'all black women, y'all don't go to these countries to go to vacation. Right. Y'all go to places like Dubai and the European nations, because when you get off the plane, they tell you right off the bat, this is how you're going to dress. This is where you're going to go. This is what you're not going to do. And you better do it, or else you're either going to get locked up or you're going to get shipped right back to where you came from. So like Cap said, this is a white woman, but she is dressed up like a Muslim woman. Why? Because that's their culture there, and you will abide by their rules.
Hey, also, when we landed in Kuwait, as they were busing us into the military compound there, you seen the women, how that's how you could see them walking around dressed, and it's hot. It's like 130 degrees over there. They were walking around just like that. You could only see their eyes.
And you know, the only way that they could have that is all the men in that society had to agree, we're not putting up with that. And so what happens is in America, the whole democratic ideology is freedom. Don't let that hold you back. It starts with the media, the advertisements. It does television commercials. And what's happening now is we're going to read about, we're going to listen to this, and I'm hoping that it's the part I want, Akim. It might be. If not, watch what this is saying.
Taliban fighters have flooded the capital. Smiling and victorious, they took this city of 6 million people in a matter of hours, barely firing a shot.
This is a site I honestly
Pause it, hold up. Let's just think, militarily, hold up. Let's just think about that for a second. 6 million people is almost, it's bigger than Chicago. It's not quite the size of New York. It's probably like the size of greater Dallas Metro, Fort Worth. 6 million people. There's no way, if they really believed in the Democratic politics, about the leaders there, that they would have put up a formidable fight if they really believed this American philosophy. They didn't have to use any force to take the city because they know who they are. They were like, thank God that these devils left. Now, the ones that were clinging to the planes, they loved America. They were the sellouts. Those are the ones that the Taliban and the other ones, you're a sellout. you follow this Christian democratic crap. That's what you talk to these guys, right? The ones in overseas where they told you, look, we ain't got a problem with the black man. We don't want these white people over here who's coming in bringing their garbage.
Yeah, because two things came to Iraq at the same time: Christmas and homosexuality. Came at the same. Even though some of them do have a custom, they use their women for procreation, they use their men for pleasure. That's some of them, not all of them. But the two things that came over there, flaming sodomites and Christmas.
They had something in Afghanistan they called Man Love Thursday. The U.S. brought it over there.
The hell is this?
So, it was. Let's just see if we track this. Play on.
Never see scores of Taliban fighters, and just behind us, the U.S. Embassy compound.
Some carry American weapons. They tell us they're here to maintain law and order. Everything is under control.
Pause real quick. Let's see what we notice right off the bat. This is a similarity between our forefathers. Because remember, Noah had 3 sons. And out of 3 sons, you had the 12 tribes of Israel. Ishmael came out, and he had 12 princes. The one thing that we carried away from the line of Noah was a righteous man. These men, remember, parts of the laws of God. They keep a beard. That's part of their dress code. And as a result of keeping that law, now the one up the top, he probably can't grow a certain amount. They keep their beards, and they keep their moral values. And this is what they're bringing back to what their forefathers had taught them. The U.S. was trying to change that. And so now, let's play on.
Fine, the commander says. Nobody should worry.
What's your message to America right now?
America already spent enough time in Afghanistan. They need to leave, he tells us. They already lost lots of lives and lots of money. People come up to them to pose for photographs.
Hey, look. They're calling them extremists. They're calling them military terrorists, all of that stuff. They just want their house back. Imagine Esau came up in your house and set up camp, set up shop, took over your whole house, and didn't let you do nothing. He brought all kind of abominations that you never did before in your family. Now all of that's in your house. Now they about to leave. What you think you about to do? You about to set your house back in order how you had it the first time.
That's
but like Kat
right.
was just saying, U.S. been in there 20 years. You had kids that was 10, 15 years old. They 30, 35 years old now. They used to democracy. They used to women being able to talk back and wear whatever they want and be Americanized in that area. They not having that no more. Y'all leaving, and so is your democracy and all of your culture. All of that stuff is leaving with you. That's a culture shock to a lot of them over there.
Hey, also Matthew, my second tour over there, Captain said something heavy. The elders over there, they the ones they have the bigger beards. They don't trust you. If you don't have a beard on your face, it was to the point where our commander he wrote memorandums like, you guys will have laxed grooming standards. We had to grow beards. They wouldn't even deal with us.
I saw that in the military. It was the U.S. Army. I saw that and one of the company commanders realized that if we go on, they had learned their custom. Part of their custom was a beard. There was a certain way that they sat. When they ate, they sat a certain way. And that's wisdom. And you know what? The U.S. is trying to change that. Now, this what I'm trying to, if we can, I don't want the whole video, but there's a part in here just to get to the point where they show the men actually defiling media ads of women that are showing a little too much skin. 2 minutes.
Keep on scrolling through. Or matter of fact, just go to the Instagram thing. Just go to the Instagram thing. It'll be more time effective. There you go.
So it says posters of women seen being covered in Kabul as Taliban captures the capital. So when it says women being covered, this in the last 20 years is a new thing under the sun. They never saw this before. So now you have a woman and to them that's too much. So they're not actually hurting women. They're trying to bring the traditional core values of modest apparel and not showing too much skin. That's what they're doing. They're not wrong with that. They're trying to cover that up. That's an American philosophy. That's not an Arab way of life. In 20 years, you're going to try to change 3,000 years of history? Come on.
Hey, Cap, can I get Matthew 5, 28, 27, 28? I'm gonna show you something, Cap. Now, back when I was in there was a thing called a Haji Mart. You know, we did call them Hajis. Everybody was a Haji, whatever. That's how America dresses. So there was a Haji Mart, right? At the Haji Mart, you could buy DVDs. Now, you've seen Harlem Nights, right?
Of course.
Okay, you remember the part where Sugar and his wife was in the bed and they were talking about Quick? And she was like, Sugar Ray, stop talking about your son. Come over here and, you know, let's do what we do. There's a part on the DVD that I bought from the Haji Mart where when she has skin showing up here. They zoom in on her nose until the scene is over, then the camera goes back regular.
Right.
But they edited the video so where you can't see her body.
So look, all praise. We're getting into it. All praise to the Most High, but we're gonna take a quick segment break to Officer Mikha'el. Take it away, Officer Mikha'el. Bring it out.
Hey, Shalom, Israel, Most High in Christ. Blessed. It's your brother, Officer Mikha'el, and this is your Cornerstone News. Hey, look, make sure y'all go back and check out Shout Out Tuesday.
That's right.
Our Bishop Nathaniel, is still going in on these false prophets. As y'all can see on the screen, the topic is Tony Evans. So let's get the next slide. Let's get the next one.
Bring it out.
Hey, look, make sure y'all, if you're on Facebook, make sure y'all go to the Acts of the Apostles 365 page where y'all can see all the camps that are doing 30 days of camps. Right now, we got IUIC Denver doing 30 days of camp. What's the next slide we got? Hey, make sure y'all are also signing up to the Booster Club. Once these COVID restrictions are lifted again, our bishops and our leadership are going to go throughout the four corners of the earth pushing this gospel. They need your support. Y'all can do that by donating at iuic.fundraising at israelunite.org.
That's right.
Hey, while y'all on YouTube, after the radio show, make sure y'all go watch IUIC New Orleans. Check out the latest videos we have. Right now, we have up Captain Shem tells a young man to get his marriage in order. Also, hey, it's a tough pill to swallow, but y'all got to take it. Sisters that are plus size, y'all got to lose the weight. That's a video talking about health that Captain Shem did on the streets. So go check those videos out. And that concludes our Cornerstone News.
All praises, all praises. So, Officer Matt, you were going into something.
Yes, sir.
Before we cut,
like, put that back up there about what Ishmael is doing to the posters and stuff. So read that, Officer Micah.
The book of Matthew, chapter 5, verse 27. You have heard that it was said by them of old. You have heard that it was said by them of old time, thou shalt not commit adultery.
So we know, don't commit adultery. Read on.
But I say unto you, that whosoever looketh on a woman to lust after her hath committed adultery with her already in his heart.
You already committed adultery in your mind when you looking and lusting after a woman. This is what they were trying to stop. Right. That's why I brought up the fact of the movie because they don't even want you to watch a movie with that stuff in it. In certain movies, they just black out the scene. You just hear the audio. And you don't even see the picture. And then the picture will come back in whenever the sexual stuff stops. So they still try to keep some sort of morality in their society. And now that the U.S. is leaving, they're trying to reinstill the morality that was there before. Because now they have pictures of women, you know, they might not even be showing much, but hey, there's men that will lust because, oh, I like the way she wears her hair. Oh, I like the color of her lips. Oh, I like how beautiful her face is. They read this book. They know not to lust after a woman and look upon a woman to lust after her.
Hey, and the ancient men know that. That's why the elders of their cities understand that, and they give direction, and that's what they try to carry on the traditions. Get me Deuteronomy 23:17. This is what they see this in the spirit, and that's why they call America the Great Satan or the Great Satan, because what that brings is all defilement. And they're trying to, believe it or not, in the feminist movement is actually trying to minimize the fact that they're trying to bring values to their women, whether they think it's demoralizing to have them cover up their breasts, rear ends, and stomachs. How is that demoralizing? Deuteronomy 23:17.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 23, verse 17. There shall be no whore of the daughters of Israel.
You might say, but that's just a wedding dress. Well, it starts with a wedding dress that shows the whole arm with a spaghetti strap and this. Next thing you know, it's damn near full-on nudity. And then what happens after that? Then the strip clubs come, the prostitution is in the street, and it can happen in a matter of years. Ishmael's like, you know what? He understands that imagery is powerful. If you look up there, you can see that that's a side of a building. I can tell because above the crown on her head looks like some sort of fan. And if you look to the left, there's a door. That's about a 3-foot by 7 door. So that picture to the right that's scribbled out is probably about an 8 by 8. That's 64 square feet, roughly. I might be off by a couple feet. That's a big, almost 8 by 8 painting that they put on the side of a building. And above it, they show a picture of a woman with, I think it's like blondish color hair that's kind of, right, in the blue eyeshadow, right? Mm-hmm. That don't look like an Arab woman to me.
Cap, that's the beauty store. Oh, that's the same as a beauty store here in America. That's what that is over there.
Right, but that don't look like Arab beauty to me. That looks like maybe a very fair-skinned Arab. They're trying to bring the European, that whorish look there. And so what Ishmael did, he said, you know what? We ain't having this. Oh, if my grandfather could see this. And they remember the values with their moms. They remember their grandmother. They had some sort of honor in this place before the U.S. came. And they said, you know what? This is defilement. This is America. This got to go. And this is an example of doing that. Yeah, they blocked out the face. And a lot of, remember it says, behold the beauty of a woman. You can be taken by the eyes. The eyes of a woman are very sexual. So notice they got rid of the eyes and they made her faceless to take away that sex, like you said about the sexual, that look that a woman can give off.
They basically rejected the Western standard of beauty.
Right, 100%, 100%. And if they have more time, they're gonna do the top picture too.
They're gonna get it.
Let's see if there's another picture, or is that it? Of course, you got the liquor bottles and the trash. Black label. What else we got? See what we can see here.
Yeah, they basically ripped that face off.
Yep.
Oh wow. Okay.
They ripped that face off.
I didn't even notice. Oh, and look at the one to the right where it says 35 in spray paint. There was a whole picture there, as well as the one above that man that's walking.
Yep.
So they're going throughout, just like when the white man conquered, he put his images up everywhere. Like, for example, when I was in Africa, I went to Kumasi and Accra. And we was there. I was the fairest one of them all over there, right? But let me tell you something. Everywhere, and you could ask the brothers that I travel with, I had the honor to travel with. And at first, I'm like, something ain't right. Every single block in this all-black country had white images. I'm talking about no question, not Arab Jesus, pure white Jesus. Everywhere we went, ask any of the captains, ask Bishop, everywhere you went,
He needs
white
some milk.
Jesus. I'm going to tell you something. This white man's philosophy and democracy goes very deep. And Ishmael understands. He said, you know what? We're not having it. Now, here, why do we go through all this? Because remember, they're going, give me that Ezra where it says remembering the nature. It is about having a common enemy, but it all starts first with remembering their values. And guess what? Ishmael had laws which actually came back from the time of Noah, because they come out of Noah. Ishmael came out of Abraham, the patriarchal forefather we share. Okay, read.
Book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 15, verse 31. And then shall the dragons have the upper hand, remembering their nature.
No, so they're going to remember. So the first thing to have an upper hand is you got to have a lower hand. You got to be underhanded. And then you got to realize, yo, he's going to your country. He went to Iraq. He went to Syria. He's in Afghanistan. He's in Kuwait. He's in Egypt. Wait a minute. But brother, he gave me all this money and fun. Yeah, but did you see what they did to our brothers? 37 innocents died. They pushing that Christmas. Do you see what they're doing? They're going to start remembering. No. This is not how we were taught. This is wrong. And this is what's going on. You don't think other Arabs, if we're watching it here in the United States content, you don't think that Arabs have news stations in Yemen, Syria, Libya? They're not all watching this? They don't see what's going on? God is going to use social media to help Ishmael connect with each other and realize this is the damn devil, and he's destroying our morality. And yes, he's making you rich. But
that's right.
The money ain't going to be able to stop them from coming for you, Esau, going forward.
Hey, Cap, they don't understand. I think they said it was, 60,000 came over here?
Oh, yes, you
Was
got
it?
that.
Yeah.
Somebody, I think Iran or Mikha'el posted the article.
60,000.
Let's get that, because this show is too fast.
Now,
Let's get that.
Now, among that 60,000, you
Right.
don't think they got sleeper cells?
Yep.
You don't think that they made some of their brothers like, hey, look, calm down. We know. Just calm down.
Right.
Just go over there. We're going to give you the call. Just wait.
Yep.
I'm fairly sure, Cap, I'm fairly sure
Yes.
I met a couple of them today.
Hey, real quick.
I'm fairly sure.
Before we get to that, that's heavy. Do me a favor. I saw this today. One of the captains posted. Type in U.S. Army officer kills 44 people on U.S. Army base. Because this happened
Down to Texas.
in Texas in the last 10 years.
Yes. I remember
This hit
that.
was all over the news, and he was an Arab. So if he was an Arab, you don't think, how the hell do you, and I think he was brass. He was not enlisted. In order to get past second lieutenant, first lieutenant, to become a captain, and then becoming a major, you're telling me that, listen, he fooled a whole lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
And because I know in the Marine Corps, I just speak, to become a major, like that is a serious rank to get becoming a major. Let's go ahead and can we find that? I know it's off topic real quick. So read that, remembering the nature, one more time. Here's a guy that was behind enemy lines, and to Officer Matthews' point, if there's 30,000, 60,000 people, well, here's one example where he was in the lion's den around Esau, probably 95% Esau, and he still, somebody gave him a call. I don't know if it was a jihad, a spirit talked to him. Somebody gave him a call. Let's read that. What source is this? Isn't this a woman's magazine? Vanity Fair? Can you get me some more credible source? Vanity Fair.
Finish him.
That's something else. That's not it.
Look up U.S. Army Major. It was a major that did it. His name was Hassan, I can't remember, Hassan or something like that. He had
Yeah, but that's Vanity Fair is like that's what you see at the grocery store when you're checking out. We don't want that. We want something like a CNN. We use that. That's fine. So here's an example of, and we're going to get to this article next about if you have tens of thousands of refugees, Okay, let's just say 95% are good Afghan citizens just here to escape the tyrannical bringing back of the Islamic law. But what about the 5% that ain't forgot about the fact that you killed half their family in so-called friendly U.S. fire? They ain't forget about that, though. Somebody read it. You can read that.
Yes,
Mikha'el, break that down, Mikha'el. You get into this, Mikha'el. Officer Mikha'el, please.
Yes, sir.
On November 5th, 2009, a mass shooting took place at Fort Hood near Killeen, Texas. Nadan Hassan, a U.S. Army major and psychiatrist, fatally shot 13 people and injured more than 30 others.
So he was a U.S. Army major and a psychiatrist. Yes, because most psychiatrists are nut jobs because they say crazy people help crazy people. So he shot 13 people and injured 30 others. It says this was the deadliest mass shooting on an American military base. So what this shows you is you can be touched. You can be touched at any time in America because they mix into our society. What is that, Daniel 2:40, the miry clay? That's what this is. That's what this is showing you.
Look at the next part. They didn't even put him to death. Hassan was shot and as a result paralyzed from the waist down.
So they didn't even kill him when they shot him. They just paralyzed him. But it just shows you how. It just shows you how entrenched they are into society, into our society. How easily they can. It's like the same thing with 9/11. They went to flight school. Nobody's thinking anything about this. They're like everyday citizens. And here in New Orleans, they run every gas station because every gas station is a Brothers gas station owned by them here in New Orleans.
Can you imagine what his checklist was that morning? He probably got up, car keys, check. Rocket launcher, check. C4, check. That's how they think.
Look what it says. It says, due to the nature of the charges, more than one premeditated or first-degree murder case in a single crime. Hassan faced either the death penalty or life in prison without parole upon conviction. Hassan was found guilty on 13 counts. Scroll down real quick.
Yeah,
okay, get me that. Let's get that one. So here's the point. If in order to become a U.S. Army major in any Air Force, Marine Corps, you have to have a standard of excellence. If not, by the time you get to captain, you're getting phased out. Even first lieutenant getting phased out. To make it to major, you have to have a certain standard of excellence, and you're peer reviewed. Because as an enlisted, you have to do your tour. You can go to the brig. You can get discharged. And officer, you can resign. There's a different level of discharge with an officership. So he obviously had earned trust of his peers.
Mm-hmm.
You have, unless they're all dumb and didn't pay attention. And I guarantee they was paying attention just based upon his name alone. Read where it says early. Okay.
Yes, sir. Early in the afternoon of November 5th, 39-year-old Hassan, armed with a semi-automatic pistol, shouted Allah Akbar, Arab for God is great, and then opened fire at a crowd inside a Fort Hood processing center where soldiers who were about to be deployed overseas or were returning from deployment received medical screening.
Now, real quick, I got to check this out. You got to imagine what he's going through, right? So he's watching this, knowing that these forces are going over to kill people that were like his grandmother, his grandfather, and you don't think, as a boy, he's 39, you don't think he heard stories throughout both sides of his family about people being killed by Americans? And at one point, the spirit just came on him. He said, you know what? They're going over to kill my people. And the hell with this. God is great in his Arabic language. That's remembering his nature. The hell with that. I can do something about it to protect my brothers. Man, I'm wild as hell. I'm bam, bam, bam. That's the spirit they have on them. Arabs have that spirit. Because in Genesis 16, we read about, and he shall be a wild man. Every man will be against him. And he will dwell in the midst of his brothers. So guess what? Why was he going about shooting and killing 13 people? It was for redemption of other Arabs. That's why he did that, remembering the nature.
Hey, look. Scroll up, y'all. Scroll up. Read that.
The Virginia-born Hassan,
Virginia-born,
the son of Palestinian immigrants who ran a Roanoke restaurant and convenience store, graduated from Virginia Tech University and completed his psychiatry training at the Uniformed Service University of Health Science in Bethesda,
So
Maryland.
they were Palestinian immigrants. Palestine, or what they call Palestine, is the West Bank of Israel, where most of the major atrocities have been happening in that what they call the Middle East. We'll call it the Near East. That's where most of these things have gone on. So yes, they had stories. That's why they came here, getting away from that. So they had stories. So yes, when he sees these men and women coming back from that area and traveling to that area, it does click with him. I'm going to remember my nature.
And look, he was born in Virginia. So that means he never spent time, and unless I'm reading it wrong, if you're Virginia born, now maybe he was 4 or 5 years old, but I'm taking it as he was born.
It says Virginia born.
If he was born in the United States, that means he didn't have the firsthand experience of living in Palestine. So how did he learn? He lived through the oral stories of his grandmother, the people that raised him. Don't you ever forget, what's his name? Hassan. Don't ever forget what they did to your grandfather. Don't you ever forget, these are the devil. They talk like that in the house about him. Okay?
Cap,
and he remembers that. Why else would you give up? If you retire, Officer Mike, if you retire as let's say what's the next rank after major? Major general?
Lieutenant colonel.
Lieutenant colonel.
You get a lieutenant colonel, then a colonel. He probably could have made it to, he's 39 years old as a major, so about 50 he could have been a colonel. You retire as a full bird colonel, the great military benefits he would have got. For him to risk, obviously, if he didn't do that, he probably still would be in the military, right? Yeah. Still be in the officer rank. Why would you give all that up for an ideology? It's because you have deep-rooted resentment for what they did to your people.
Cap,
that's exactly what's going on here.
Not that we condone this in any way, but this is the exact same thing that happened with Moses. It's the exact same thing. Yeah. Moses was brought up in Pharaoh's house, hearing the stories of his Hebrew brothers. And when he saw one of the Egyptians abusing his brother, what did he do? He killed them.
And this is the thing, too. Like, you got to understand, this guy, just like our mothers and fathers, they say, hey, when you go out there, don't you trust in police officers. Watch out for white people because they'll kill you. You saw the news article about the little girl that went to a sleepover and she ended up dead. Nobody didn't know nothing. You see what they do to us. Look at Martin Luther King. Look at Malcolm X. Look, and they go through all of the history. The only difference is black people, we that old lion. We hear that and be like, okay, all right. Ishmael hear that and be like, yeah, they did what? They on what? Oh, you know what? I'm gonna get really smart and I'm really gonna come at them. They think different.
And that's heavy. And and by the way, like Mikha'el said, we don't listen. We was brought here, Jeremiah 17, verse 4. We're lost people. We're coming back. We need to keep the commandments and abide our time in captivity. We do not, like the Leviticus 5:1, we're not pushing no violent agenda. In fact, we're going to take care of our wives, our children, keep the commandments, and our God's going to fight for us. We're using an example of, this is an example of, to the next article we're going to bring up, is that's one man that was born in Virginia that had stories. These folks that are coming, that are in parts of Austin, Texas, and other parts, they live their whole life over there. They've seen and heard firsthand and also had it passed down through the generations about the evils. And guess what? You don't think that Afghanistan men and women they saw what happened in Iraq War I in Iraq War II, what that happened in Syria. You don't think they saw what happened with Iran, with all these different, with Kuwait? They don't all pay attention. We think that they don't pay attention. That's why God said, remembering their nature. They're going to remember. They're going to, then it starts with, oh, shoot, no more. We got to attack the media. Get there and put our image back up. Our image is what? Allah Akbar. God is great. What does that mean? When they say God is great, they're talking about bring back godly values. No more men with men, women with women. No more revealing of sexual provocative nature with the women. No more certain foods. They probably don't want that fast food crap over there either, the Arabs. They want the old school way of eating, and that's family and traditional values that they were raised on for thousands of years. So these are things that they're remembering. You know, they're remembering who they are.
You're going to learn today.
Fast food is definitely over there. They got Pizza Hut,
Burger King,
McDonald's. They got everything over there. They when that stuff comes, bad diet comes, and a messed up mentality, all that chemically fed food, they know what comes with it.
But I know, like, when you out further away from the flagpole, how we used to call it, I remember I was at one of them little fobs where, you didn't have much. They actually they would go out, they would take a lamb from the flock, and they would kill it. You would see them, they would kill it in front of you. They would cook it right. That's how they did lunch. They make the flatbread. They bring the chai tea. That's how they still did things. And the soldiers, they were like, this is taking too long. Y'all need this MRI. Like, no, I want some of that. It looked pretty good when they were hooking it up. So I want to eat some of that chicken and some of that lamb. And
how many fat? Let me disclaimer, because
none.
When I talk to the men, but women watch this. So how many overweight Arabs did you men see over there?
None.
I didn't see none.
None.
So and that's because they don't eat 7 times a day. They probably only can eat once or maybe twice a day if they're lucky, and that's all the human body needs. Now, one thing Captain Amazar put up is a lot of them they look like they're frail. I don't know. There's not a lot of strong, muscular-looking Arabs. I don't know.
They look frail. They not fat. They look frail, but they smart as hell, and they'll blow your ass up
quick.
But the fob that I was at, they had very, very good food before they started blowing our trucks up. But they had very, very good food, and it was because it was fresh.
Yep.
Like the herdsmen were outside of the base. The base was like, in diameter, it was like 2 miles around in diameter. It was in the middle of a city, and it was just T-walls separating us and the rest of the city. So they would go get stuff for the dining facility, and it was all fresh meat. Because when I first ate there, I'm like, damn, this food tastes different.
It tastes different.
Like, what is this? They're like, bro, this is fresh beef. I'm like, what? They're like, yes, this came straight off the cow butt. Like, we eating straight cow right now. I'm like, get out of here. And they're like, nah, this is it. And so we was eating like that for a good portion of the year till they turned up on us during Ramadan.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, I wasn't fasting. You gotta fast.
Nah, we wasn't fasting. They turned up on us, boy. They were bombing the hell out of us.
So look, so we use an example of that major named Hassan that was a Virginia born that remembered his nature and killed 13 and injured 30 people in the most violent attack on a military base in U.S. history. That's what the article said. Now, Officer Iran posted something that's going to go perfectly segue into this. Fort Bliss from Estonia, Fort Bliss, and El Paso could receive. So it's not confirmed that they're definitely, but we want to look at that article real quick. Do we have time?
Hey, if they're going to bring them, that's a bad place to put 30,000 Afghanis.
They bringing them back to Fort Bliss?
Yeah.
Every soldier just got PTSD.
They that's a bad place to put them, because a lot of times Ishmael could hide among Issachar.
Mm-hmm.
Come on,
Ishmael could hide among Issachar. It's not hard.
Man.
It's not hard. So if they get, bruh, the sleeper cells that could possibly be in that caravan is ridiculous.
And look, we're talking, we used an example of 30,000. This is tens of thousands of people. And the way that the U.S., if they classify these as, what's the word when is a refugee? When you're a refugee status, you've got a certain amount of political asylum where that they can't just do anything. You're like the Vietnamese that came or the Laotians that came. They were given a certain amount, and they actually were given support to try to get on their feet.
Yeah, it's I forgot the exact term, but it's basically an asylum law. So if you have violence in your home country and you run to America for help and succor, they will actually take you in and help you. And it's a law. I forgot what the name of it is.
Amnesty?
No.
It's like the wet foot, dry foot for Florida, similar to that.
Yeah, if you're escaping, like the cartels, like you say you live in Mexico and you got the cartels on you and they're trying to kill your family, you could run to the United States. Being illegal, you could run to the United States for help and safety, and they'll take you in because of what you're going through. But it's going to be the same law applied to the
And
Afghans.
Ishmael, the ones that, like you said, I'm going to go there, I'm going to get smart, those are the sleeper cells. So that means you just let me come to your country, what I was trying to get to anyways. Now I'm here. You're going to help me to get strong so I can come and knock your ass out. This is, and not all of them. Let's read that article.
Yes, sir. You scroll. Is that the top? Or they cut some of it off?
Okay. Start right there? Okay.
Refugee Services of Texas said reports suggest 30,000 Afghans will be relocated to the U.S. soon. Many will be temporarily housed at Fort Bliss in El Paso.
Right in El Paso, Texas. Fort Bliss. Sounds like a U.S. Army base.
It is.
Read on.
But at least 324 Afghans will be settled throughout the organization's offices in Austin, Dallas, Fort Worth, and Houston.
Now, the office is the Refugee Service Office. That sounds like a federal office. Read on.
CEO Russell Smith says so far 107 families are confirmed to relocate to Austin in the next few weeks.
So the CEO, Russell Smith, scroll up a little bit. He's the CEO, Chief Executive Officer of that, scroll up a little bit more, of the Refugee Services of Texas. That's a Texas agency that has a CEO, Russell Smith. So this is all being coordinated. These are facts. This is being coordinated right now. Now, the 30,000 is an alleged number, but even 324, even that 324. Scroll down.
I wonder if they're going to relocate the 10,000 families in Haiti that just lost houses because of a natural disaster. I wonder if they're going to help them out like they're about to do Ishmael.
It just shows you, man, we the lowest. Israel the lowest.
Our northern kingdom that's in them cages down there.
Hey, if y'all remember the little alien Gonzalez story, they let him come over here on the raft and go to Disney World, but those Haitians, those Levites that were doing the same thing, they turned them around back in the 90s. So, nah, they're not going to do nothing.
Right where we're at. You're scrolling down a little bit too far. Hold up. Okay. Pick up where it says, quote unquote, many Afghans.
Many Afghans, also my family, they remember the last period. There was a dark period. The Taliban didn't let the girls go to school. They attacked the minority religions, so that's why they still scared. Hussaini explained.
Now, that's one perspective, and that's the way to try to make now I'm not defending the Taliban, but that's the way to, when you put things out there and you say things, it's one-sided. They won't tell you that the Taliban probably also does other things to help the citizens as well. One of them is to bring back some moral standards to that the old ways, if you will. Read on.
Hussaini worked as a translator with the U.S. Army and helped train the Afghan National Police. He was able to resettle in Austin on a special immigrant visa in 2017, which, with the help of Refugee Services of Texas, his wife joined him about 8 months later. Yep, that's how they dress, Terps. Smith says federal dollars help pay for things like medical case management English classes, and Social Security until families became self-sufficient.
Hold up, stop. Let me see the picture of this guy. This is the point we realize. He said he wants to go and put pressure on the Taliban. But what the Bible is telling us is that this is an Arab that wants to go back and put pressure on the Taliban for what? For trying to bring back the values about the Christian democratic societies being pushed by force on their people? No. He going to remember too. They're going to remember their nature. They're going to remember what's going on. Scroll down again.
Cap was heavy, you just said. Them cats over there, they be walking around like the top ranks, and they know what they saying. So he want to go. You on point with what you just said. I can't say too much, but yeah.
It's interesting, and I'm just trying to. The scriptures, and I don't know if it's going to happen in the next couple of years. We're seeing some of it happen now, but I'm just trying to imagine myself being an Arab guy, and you see all this go on. You hear all this. How do you not say, man, they all should be on the same page, but the Lord is not letting that happen quite yet. And we're starting to see the beginning stages of them waking the hell up.
Hey,
That's
Cap,
right.
do you want to see an article real quick?
Yeah. If you got something, bring it out. Bring it out.
Go to the Newsweek article. The Newsweek article that I posted.
Hey, at some point, we got to get this second Edges 15 and 30.
Yes, we're gonna, Officer Mikha'el, what we're gonna do is what I realized, we're gonna probably do several weeks in this show because there's a lot going on daily that's happening and coming out, and that we there's not enough time to get to half of the stuff we want to.
Oh, that's. I love this article.
So let's go ahead and read this, Officer Micah.
Yes, sir.
Let's see what we got here.
Russia, China, Iran, Pakistan extend hands to Taliban now in control of Afghanistan.
I wonder why. Oh, y'all finally got rid of America. So hey, let's join forces. Let's talk now.
Finish him.
Hey, China told Taiwan, hey, you better not be no pawns to the U.S. Better not let them use you no more. You see what just happened. China talking, Moab talking to each other too. Read that.
As the Taliban's takeover of Afghanistan shakes the international community's commitment to the country, regional powers Russia, China, Iran, and Pakistan continue to maintain their embassies in Kabul while expressing their willingness to work with its new leaders.
You want to know why? Because they don't have a problem with Russia, China, Iran, and Pakistan. They got a problem with the USA. So, of course, they're going to remain. Their embassies is right there chilling. U.S. embassies is being overran, taken over, spray painted, defiled, all of that stuff. Read on.
Just as the Taliban was getting settled in the capital, Russian ambassador to Afghanistan, Dmitry Zarov met with the group on Tuesday to discuss embassy security. Following his talks, he spoke highly of a group he said was conducting itself in a responsible and civilized manner since its largely peaceful capture of Kabul.
You want to know why it was largely peaceful? Something that Cap said earlier. And something that Joe Biden said this past week. When the U.S. left, the Afghanis that was trained by the U.S., know what they did? They put their weapons down and they joined the Taliban. They didn't even fight back. You want to know why? Because you not about to fight back your own people. That's like you got a problem with your brother in your house and y'all talking big-ish when mama and daddy home. But as soon as they got to go to the store, you going to talk that same stuff when your mama and your daddy not there?
Nope.
No. You're going to be quiet and you're going to listen to what your brothers tell you.
That's right.
That's what's going on here. It was a peaceful takeover. That's why there's no news footage of violence, shooting, bombings, none of that stuff. When stuff gets took over, like when ISIS was taking over stuff, There was bombs going off. There was stuff going everywhere. You could see online. Look at what's going on. It's mayhem. It's pandemonium. But it was a peaceful capture of the entire country. Why? Because the problem is leaving. Now we can do what we need to do. And the other countries that are around, they see it and they support it. Go ahead.
They want to be sure there would be no provocations to avoid shootings. That dude Z said in an interview with the Rasai 24 outlet, because practically everyone possesses weapons, even teenagers. It looks like they are afraid that should anything happen, not through their fault, it may cast a shadow on them as masters of the situation. They don't conceal it.
So they got weapons, but they don't want the weapons to be used because they know how the media will spin it. So they just trying to be like, look, this is a peaceful takeover. Y'all giving us our land back. Okay, we about to take over. Now the media's still trying to twist it up on them. Go ahead.
Speaking in Kaliningrad, Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov also saw a positive signal from the Taliban, specifically in the infamously hardline group's public commitments to respecting the views of others.
So as long as the Taliban is able, because Taliban means students in their language. It means students. So the students are now taking over their country, following their rules in their book, by their religion and their custom.
And they students of Allah. That's why they say Allah Akbar, God is great. And what are they bringing back is their God's values, which talk about how women should dress. They don't eat pork. The Arabs, they don't eat pork. And a lot of the fast food restaurants and crap that they push have some of it are pork-related products. I don't know if they allow all pork over there, but some things they might stand up against. But look, that's another show already. And look, we're going to continue on with this, remembering their nature, the Ishmael, and remembering the natures. And it's going to be in the news. We're going to see. I want us to just keep in mind the region where we showed you, Northern Africa all the way to the Red Sea, all the way over to Afghanistan and Pakistan. That whole area is where Ishmael is. And they're going to remember the nature. So start to watch all these places in the news and also watch other news. Don't just watch CNN. If you can watch other outlets, like this one is RT. There are other Turkish news outlets that are they give you a little bit more objective.
Al Jazeera.
Yeah, Al Jazeera.
That's the one.
Al
Yes.
Jazeera.
Watch other news. Don't just watch your standard Caucasian and Bishop got those funny acronyms. Don't watch all the white stations because they're not going to tell you what's really going on. They're gonna twist it to what they want you to conceptualize. So with that, look, we are going to. This is another show. We're going to wrap it up. But before we shoot out of here, we have Officer Matthew bringing you the hottest music from Kingdom Music.
Shalom, Israel, Most High in Christ. Bless Officer Matthew with Kingdom Music. Look, we got a lot of hot music out there. All right. Go to the Original Royalty YouTube page. All right. The Original Royalty YouTube page. Y'all got to understand something. The music that we putting out here is a righteous music environment. We're trying to promote more positivity in music. That means none of our women going to be shaking their behinds. We ain't going to be degrading our women. We ain't going to be talking about killing each other. None of that. All right? So first up on the list, we got Royal Priesthood. All right? Royal Priesthood is a bunch of young brothers. Hey, and these brothers is definitely doing their thing. This is for y'all millennials out there, their album is out on all streaming platforms. All right. Go to Original Royalty Recordings presents Push.
who have saved us and called us within holy calling.
See that? Who have saved us and called us with an holy calling. Some of y'all talking about you want to call from the mayor so you can go visit the mayor. You want to call from the president so you can go see Obama. Are you kidding me? You got the highest calling on earth. God is calling you.
I had to push. Let's pray until something happens. In the meantime, I'ma keep God commandments. Glory to the Father, love for the Son. Hold fast to what I have until He comes. Push. I had to push. I had to push. Let's pray until something happens.
See, that's what women, righteous women, do. You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
That ain't no provocative. That's spiritual dancing. It's in the scriptures. All right? It's in the scriptures. So we got Captain Gedaliah. You know, the Sons of Thunder, they always coming with something. You know what I'm saying? We got Royal Priesthood. Go get these albums. All right? Go get these albums. Go on originalroyaltyrecordings.com. Get the albums. Purchase them. Rock to the music of Original Royalty. At this point, y'all should have a whole playlist on your iTunes with nothing but truth music, from rap to R&B to jazz. All right,
That's
we
right.
should. That nobody is left behind. Cap don't like rap, but he like jazz.
Bring it out.
You know what I'm saying? A lot of y'all older people, y'all may not like the rap and all of that, and some may not like jazz. Like, they got R&B, and give it a couple more moments, and we're gonna have rock and country. I know a brother that's working on a rock album right now. So y'all stay tuned, Israel. Shalom, Most High in Christ bless.
Hey, look, Israel. Hey, give alms, y'all. Give alms. If y'all want to continue to see shows like this, y'all got to support. Y'all can give alms to IUIC New Orleans via PayPal at iuic.neworleans@israelunite.org. Also, join the Booster Club. You can join the Booster Club by sending an email to iuic.fundraising@israelunite.org. If you don't want to join the Booster Club, but you still just want to support, you can send funds via PayPal to that same email address, iuic.fundraising@israelunite.org. Give alms, y'all.
Israel United in Christ. We are not a hate group. We are not affiliated with any other Israelite group. Israel United in Christ is a nonviolent, Bible-based movement. We do not advocate or condone any acts of violence against any race, ethnicity, or gender. We advise that if anyone hears or knows of any plots to cause harm to anyone or to break the laws of the land, you must contact the proper authorities to bring awareness to any possible threat, as stated in Leviticus chapter 5, verse 1.
All praise to the Most High. Thank you again for tuning in for another edition for Precept Upon Precept. We are your hosts tonight. I'm Captain Shem.
Officer Matthew.
Officer Mikha'el.
Officer Micah.
And look, tune in next week, Lord's. Actually, excuse me. Next week, we got men's conference coming up. I believe we are all going to be in a row.
Yes, sir.
So next week, I'm going to talk to Captain Zakar. We're probably going to have to get coverage for that because a lot of us are going to be. Anyway, so Lord's will, we'll probably see you in 2 weeks after that, and we're going to carry on with this Ishmael, remembering their nature as you see what's going on in Afghanistan, and watch what else is going to pop off as you see what's going on with Russia and China trying to support the Taliban. There's a lot of stuff going on. Pay attention to that Arabic region. Remember the scriptures in Genesis and 2nd Ezra. Watch what's going to happen, and we're going to see it. We're going to see it in our lifetime. So with that, all praise to the Most High. All right? Anything else we got before we shoot out of here?
Nope.
And with that, we say,
Shalom.
You listening to Precept on Precept. Captain Shem break it down to no meat left. Line upon line in the word, make you respect. History collegiate when we teach it, brains reset. You listening to Precept on Precept. Captain Shem break it down to no meat left. Line upon line, the word make you respect. History collegiate when we teach it, brains reset. Putting in the work for the Most High. Valley of the bones, right. Bringing our identity back. We the praise of the Lord, they pretend to be that. Shooter is something special, they could never be that. We raise the vengeance with